the Miami Dolphins versus the Cleveland Browns.
A surprisingly mild November day on the shores of Lake Erie. Temperatures in the low 50s as the Dolphins and the Browns are ready to meet for the first time since Miami's playoff win over Cleveland a year ago. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Crickey. Reversal of fortune has been the story of these two teams in 1990. The Dolphins haven't been to the playoffs in 5 years, but at 8-2, they're rolling with the NFL's #1 defense. The Cleveland Browns, conversely, have been a playoff team the last 5 years. If they don't win today, however, they'll not have a winning season in 1990. I'm joined by Todd Christensen, a former standout tight end with the Raiders. And, Todd, it's interesting that the Browns, while they're losing, aren't down. They're really ready to play this game.
No, they really want to win for Jim Schaffner. Of course, it's audition time for Schaffner because he wants that head coaching job. He's been pestered throughout the week by the press to say, play some young people, get in contention for that #1 pick. He says, no, we're not going to have any of it. We want to win. We want something good to happen in 1990.
Well, Schaffner's an offensive specialist, and he is looking to open up the offense today, and he's got the guy that can do it in Bernie Kosar, the birthday boy. Bernie's 27 today.
27 today, and he wants to celebrate it appropriately. This whole year, he has finally been healthy. He's not been plagued by any injuries, and now today, he has Reggie Langhorne back, so he has a complete arsenal to work with.
There's a lot that's been terrific about the Dolphins this season. One of the factors that's led to their rise is a terrific offensive line play. It's a young group, but they're good.
Well, particularly on the left side, they have two rookies starting at guard and tackle in Sims and Webb, and the oldest man on the line is the right tackle at age 25, and so they look like that they're getting some things together, and they have a good club for the future.
And there is Coach Don Shula, a former Cleveland Brown. Played here in 1951 and 52, has great memories of watching the Browns as a youngster. And now in his 28th season as an NFL head coach, his 21st at Miami. Brent Fullwood is back deep for Cleveland as Stoyanovich is ready to kick the ball off for Miami. There is Brent Fullwood, the former All-American running back, #1 pick of the Packers who came here. And Fullwood will take it across the 15-yard line. And the Miami special teams, which have been consistently good, knock him down to about the 21. Looking at Cleveland on offense now. Paul Farron, Ralph Tam, Mike Babb, Greg Riccozzi, and Big Tony Jones across the offensive front. It's a unit that their quarterback, Bernie Kosar, says is coming together more and more. The Browns had almost 400 yards offense last week. Mack and Metcalf are the runners. Mack is the power back. Slaughter and Langhorne starting wideouts. Ozzie Newsome, the veteran tight end, comes out for Brian Brennan. And then Metcalf will also go to wide receiver in the Browns plus formation on passing down. And around to Slaughter. He's going to throw it. It looked like he was going to, and now that big Dolphin defense, fast and aggressive, knocks him down for a loss on the play. David Griggs, an outside linebacker, #92, didn't buy the fake.
The play was made in the secondary, though, by McKyer and Oliver. Here's the fake, and he flips back. Look downfield now. McKyer and Oliver didn't buy the fake at all. They double-team Langhorne, and there's no place for Slaughter to go.
So the Browns going to the bag of tricks to open the game. Lose 2 yards. Second down and 12 now for Kosar. Metcalf. He's averaging under 2 yards a rush, but with good quickness there, he bursts ahead and gets 5 yards. Looking at the Miami defense now. Ranked #1 in the NFL. Turner, Lee, and Cross across the front. Jeff Cross has 10 sacks, one of the NFL's leaders. Griggs, Offerdahl's the leading tackler. Odom and Green, standout linebacker play. McKyer and Brown have really helped this whole defense. The two new corners, Williams and Oliver, the safeties, they go to extra DBs and Glenn, Thomas, and Hubley. Third down coming up now for Cleveland. Browns need 6. Kosar from the shotgun pitches back to Kevin Mack. And he will be cut down short of a first down. So the Browns varying their offensive play call. Going to the run when it looked like pass, but they don't get there. Rick Graff was in, and he made the play for Miami, #99.
Interesting sweep. Pitching out to Kevin Mack, going to the left, and they would have had the first down, but Lifford Hobley did a good job of coming up. And when Kevin Mack has a head of steam, it's no fun to take him on head on, but Hobley did and prevented the first down.
And there's Scott Schwades back to return the punt. Ryan Wagner is the Cleveland punter. He'll hit the ball about his 19. End over end, not too deep. Schwades feeling it on the run. And he dives ahead down to the 47-yard line. A very fine play by Scott Schwades. Tough ball to handle. He took it on the dead run and got ahead across midfield. So the Dolphins go on offense with very good field position. There's that big offensive line Todd was talking about. Webb and Sims on the left side. Ulenek is the center. Galbraith and Mark Dennis on the right side. Marino the quarterback. Soon to hit 30,000 career passing yards. Smith, the starting runner. Garrett Limbrick is his blocker. He'll go out for Troy Stadford on passing downs. Cooper, Mott, and Pruitt, the other wide receivers Miami will use a lot. And here on first down is Sammy Smith running well. Smith is averaging just under 4 yards a carry. Miami's leading rusher. Gets it ahead close to the 41-yard line. A gain on the play of 6 yards.
Sammy Smith might have lost a little confidence last week. He had -3 yards rushing. Right from the get-go, Marino wants him to get the ball because he wants him to get some confidence. There he's able to bounce off Grayson and get some additional yards when it looked like he was going to be stopped. He is key to the running game for the Dolphins. They can't afford the likes of him not having a good game and then being forced to throw 40 times. They want him to carry the ball 20 times a game.
Raiders, of course, Monday night held the Dolphins with 14 yards rushing on 12 carries. Again, Miami goes to the run and gets first down yardage, it would appear, as they're down close to the 37. Michael Dean Perry was the man who made the stop, along with Felix Wright, as we look at the Cleveland Browns defensively. Rookies start at the end. Rob Burnett and Anthony Pleasant. Chris Pike, a huge tackle on Michael Dean Perry. He was the AFC Defensive Player of the Year a season ago. Clay Matthews is a 5-time Pro Bowler at linebacker. Johnson and Grayson also good backers. Minifield and Claiborne at the corners. Wright and Gash the safeties. And the nickel backs who come in on passing downs, Harper and Blaylock. Marino on first down takes a look. Going to air it out. Man is open. He's too high for a wide open Farrell Edmonds.
Mike Johnson on the coverage and single coverage. Farrell Edmonds, a Pro Bowler last year, has now been getting the work that he would like. When I was talking with Dan Marino yesterday, he said part of the problem is that he has great speed. He has all the physical tools, but he just doesn't have that knack to get open. Right there, he was wide open, and Dan, rolling to his left, couldn't get in the ball in the hands of Edmonds.
Edmonds has just 16 receptions this year. He's been to the Pro Bowl. Big tight end from Maryland. So now second down arises for the Dolphins in the scoreless first quarter. 11:22 to play in it. Jensen in motion. For the run go the Dolphins, and a straight-ahead carry on 2nd and 10 by Troy Stradford. Doesn't get much. Rob Burnett, first-year linebacker from Syracuse, and Anthony Pleasant were on the stop.
Michael Dean Perry is at the bottom of that too, Don, and he's someone they're looking to here on third down to make some big plays, get some sacks. Perry taking on the rookie inside, pushes him backwards. There he hooks him right at the bottom, and that's the best Sims can do with him, is a stalemate, and as a result, Perry wins that battle.
So now Dan Marino goes to the gun on third down and 10. Over 70,000 at Cleveland Stadium. Marino steps in, drills a fastball, and it's caught. And a marker is also down on the play. James Pruitt, I don't almost look Todd like it's stuck in under his arm. I didn't even put his hands out.
Well, there's the classic cliche right there in threading the needle. Looked to me like Felix Wright had him covered perfectly.
Holding, 31 offense. Penalty is declined. First down.
He meant Frank Minifield. He meant 31 defense. Pruitt, you're going to see, is covered very well here. Blaylock has him off from the start, has him inside out. Now he's going to run a standard in. He doesn't even give him that much of a move. Great coverage. Right underneath. Look at that. He uses his right arm as a cushion so it can stick on his right arm. Pruitt has had some problems in the past hanging on to balls, but that's a big catch there for the Dolphins.
Blaylock didn't know he had the ball. I don't think for a minute Pruitt did either. The spectacular throw by Marino is going to put it up again. Rolling out. A fastball into the end zone. Incomplete to Duper. Minifield was defending. Frank Minifield was out last week with a heel injury, and Warren Moon had a field day. He threw for 5 touchdowns against Cleveland, victimizing Minifield's backup, Stephon Adams, who is no longer with the team.
Stephon Adams was waived this week, which really kind of surprised me. I know he struggled at cornerback, but he was their leading special teams tackler, and those kind of players are tough to find.
Now let's check out as we see the Dolphins line up. Second down, coming up in 10. No score. See what they've done inside the 20. receivers flood deep. Here's an out pattern. The ball is caught inside the 5-yard line. Tony Martin makes his 17th reception of the year. A first-year free agent from Mesa College in Colorado.
Dan Marino's ability to see the field paid off right there. The only one that was in single coverage in that situation was Martin, and Claiborne had him on the outside. Watch the comeback route you'll see to the far right of your screen on Raymond Claiborne. He comes down, looks like he's going up, and then comes back. Claiborne unable to get back to him, and Marino makes a great throw to the sidelines. No matter how good the coverage was in Claiborne's case, he couldn't get in front of the ball because Marino could. Outstanding pass.
He's thrown a couple of missed drives. Truly outstanding. Marino's only been sacked 8 times. Low total in the NFL. On 3rd down, he looks into the end zone. Here's a fast run again, and it's good for a touchdown. Mark Duper makes his 3rd touchdown reception of the year, and Miami is quickly on the board 6-0.
Only Dan Marino can make that throw. Once again, it's the same thing. It's a comeback, and you don't think you can do that because you have limited area in the end zone. But he's able to make that throw. Duper does the exact same route as was done before. He comes back to the ball at the 5-yard range, and if you remember, back in the decade of the 70s, Bradshaw used to do that with Stallworth, knowing that only the receiver can look back to the quarterback, and he puts it in the ball where only the receiver can get it.
And he put it right where it had to be after that errant throw on his first pass to a wide-open Farrell Edmonds overshooting him. Marino comes back and is laser sharp, taking the Dolphins into the end zone. Stoyanovich drills the extra point, and with 9:46 to play in the first quarter, the visiting Miami Dolphins go out in front 7-0. And the Dolphins will be kicking it off when we come back. To Duper touchdown pass, ready to kick it off. Wind is really swirling out there. You've played on this field, Todd. It's really tough to handicap the wind. You can't tell where it's coming from.
And it's amazing, too, when they throw the balls. All of a sudden, they can knuckle, screw, dip. They can do all the things that baseball pitchers do in wind like this.
We saw some of that in the first punt. It was very tough to handle. Brent Fullwood is back now for Cleveland. Stoyanovich ready to kick it off as the Dolphins strike quickly, going 8 plays, 47 yards for a touchdown. Fullwood to the 15 and meets a wall of Dolphin white as he swept back. And again, Miami's kick coverage is good, and Cleveland will start an offense again. Browns went to 2 unusual play calls in their first series, but they were 3 downs and out. Rick Graff makes another tackle, this one on special teams. Bernie Kosar comes in with 7 touchdowns, passes, and 10 interceptions, rare for him, with the lowest career interception rate, and I believe in history in the NFL. This guy doesn't throw many picks. He needs time, though, and the offensive line has been a problem. It's starting to come together, hurt by retirements and injuries. Kosar on first down, swings it out to Kevin Mack. And Miami's big power back with his 26th catch of the year is ahead for a first down, a 12-yard gain. Dolphin leading tackler John Offerdahl made the stop.
Jim Schaffner told us yesterday that Kevin Mack can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. Because of his size, people think he's a one-dimensional back just running straight ahead. But he said he actually has good hands. And as witnessed by last week when he made 6 catches, he told us that they're going to utilize him in the passing game today.
Now they go to the run on a first down carry. And again, the very quick Eric Metcalf runs the ball straight ahead. He got 3 out to the 37-yard line.
Don, one of the difficulties with somebody like Eric Metcalf is how do you use him? You know that because of his size at 5'9", about 170, 175 pounds, he can't be carrying the ball 20 times a game as witnessed by his average, 1.8 per carry. But if you put him out there exclusively a wide receiver, you can't get him the ball quite enough. They're trying to utilize him the same way the Giants have utilized Mega, but so far it hasn't been that effective. He only has 1 touchdown in the entire season.
Yeah, that's been a problem. He hasn't been in the end zone like he was a year ago when he scored a lot. Had 10 touchdowns last season, only 1 this year. Now a screen pass to Metcalf, and the Browns get a big play again. On a 2nd and 7, they get 9 yards out to the 45-yard line. Cliff Odom makes the stop, but Cleveland, with sharp, short game passing by Kosar, moves the ball well.
And strangely enough, if he'd have stayed outside, take a look here. He fakes inside. Now you watch Metcalf on the left side of the line take off the left. Look to the outside. He decides not to wait, and he cuts back inside, and Hugh Green actually makes a terrific play. If he stays behind his blockers, that could have been a much bigger play than it was.
Metcalf was a much sought-after property coming out of the University of Texas, a terrific athlete. He was the Southwest Conference long jump champion, 27-foot long jumper. Kosar fumbles the snap, a quick out, now goes to Slaughter. A blocker's in front of it. Browns break another big play. Webster Slaughter's inside the 35-yard line. And down to the 32. Lewis Oliver, the free safety, finally knocked him out of bounds.
This is just the opposite of Eric Metcalf, which is surprising. Webster Slaughter does an outstanding job of using his linemen. He sat and waited. He was very patient. Take a look at Slaughter right here. He takes the 2 steps up, gets McKyer into a little bit of a back pedal. Now watch him wait for his blockers. He'll wait for Rakosi and Tony Jones. Here comes Jones pushing McKyer out of the way, and that enables Slaughter to get downfield and have a big play for the Browns.
28-yard gain on the play, and now Cleveland is driving, trailing the Dolphins 7-0. Now, as the Browns get a lot of push from their left side, Paul Farron and Ralph Tam and center Mike Babb. And they bust into that tough Dolphin defense, the best in the NFL at defensing the run, for a gain of about 5 or 6 yards.
That's the strength of Kevin Mack. This doesn't look like much. He just plunges into the line, following behind his blockers. Offerdahl sticks him, but Mack has that ability and strength to push forward. This is what they want from Kevin Mack. They want to return that 1,000-yard rusher they had 5 years ago.
He came into the game with almost 400 for the season. Now he goes to the right side, behind the right side of his line, and hits to the 20. It's a first down for Cleveland.
Kevin Mack is definitely fired up for this game.
He's played well, Todd, all season. They really rave about what he's done behind limited blocking.
Well, one of the problem, obviously, of the Browns was the early retirements of both their tackles, Cody Rison and Ricky Bolden, which caught the Brown organization by surprise. And as I talked to the Cleveland Browns yesterday, every single one of them pointed to that as one of the reasons for their demise. Tackles are a valuable commodity, offensive tackles, in the National Football League.
And they take time to develop the basic abilities there, but not experience in these young players. Now Kosar on first down goes to the end zone. Man is open. Langhorne almost intercepted. Beautifully defended by J.B. Brown, a second-year corner from Maryland.
Bernie Kosar had Hugh Green all over him, and he had to sidearm it a little bit. A good route here by Langhorne. Cuts inside, tries to give the impression of a slant, and he actually gets picked there by Hobley, but he makes a good recovery. Now, if he can loft it just a little bit more, but he has Green in his face. And right there, Langhorne actually becomes the defender to bat it away. A little bit more loft. Good play by J.B. Brown, a rookie.
And by Langhorne to keep him from intercepting. Second down and 10 now for Cleveland. Dolphins lead in the first quarter, 7-0. Here's the rush. Long ball. Ozzie Newsome can't get to it. No flag. Newsome looked back, lost his footing. In the pregame warm-ups, Kosar was unusually sharp throwing the deep ball. There was warm-ups, but he was really on target. I think they're going to be going deep a lot today.
Now, 5 years ago, you would have never seen an outside linebacker covering Ozzie Newsome man for man. But because of Ozzie's advanced age and the passing game going a different direction, they have David Griggs on him man for man, and Ozzie had him beat. But again, Kosar didn't have quite the right touch.
We're all coaches with hindsight, Tab, but you wonder why the Browns stopped running and started throwing first and second downs, and they were running so well to this point in this drive. Now they have to hit a 10-yard play. It's third down and 10. They are in field goal range. A blitz, a dump off. Kevin Mack loses the handle, and the Browns have to try a 37-yard field goal.
Don, you're exactly right. The way Kevin Mack was running that made no sense to me at all. Plus the fact that it's much more difficult inside the 20 because of limited space to throw the ball. The way the offensive line was coming off on the so-called pound machine, you would have thought they'd have just given Mack the ball and said, hey, we're going to do this until you stop us. What stopped them on that drive was the play calling.
Now Jerry Korek, who set a Canadian Football League scoring record last year with 224 points at Edmonton, ready to try the 37-yard field goal with Pagel holding. He hits it, but he sends it wide left. So the Browns, with a good drive, come up empty. And 74,000 plus express their displeasure. And now Cleveland sends out its defense. Todd Christensen at Cleveland Stadium. Dolphins lead 7-0, and now they start first and 10 from their 20 after a Cleveland field goal 5 is wide. Sammy Smith thrown back by the Browns defense. Second down and 10 coming up now. Michael Dean Perry and Eddie Johnson were on the stop. Reves has kicked his second field goal for the Vikings, and they lead the Bears 6-0. Cincinnati got a touchdown run from Ickey Woods. The extra point was blocked. Bengals lead 6-0. Browns moved the ball very well in their last possession, but couldn't get points. Now Marino, who was really on target in that opening drive, that took the Dolphins into the for a touchdown. His throw to Duper on the payoff end. And the Dolphins go to the run to Troy Stratford, another small, quick back. With 195 pounds is small. It's not big in this league.
But, you know, he's one of the people that Dan Marino trusts. When I was talking with him yesterday, I addressed the point about Farrell Edmonds, why they weren't using him more. And he said that one of the reasons is in the 4 wide receiver situation, both Jim Jensen and Troy Stratford are people that I trust. Troy Stratford, too, a smallish back like Terry Metcalf, can't carry the ball 20, 25 times a game, but he can help you win ball games.
4th year from Boston College, and now 3rd down comes up for Marino. And the Dolphins need 5. 3-man rush, out pattern. Schwades makes the catch, but did he get there? This is going to be a tough spot. Could go either way.
Very charitable mark. All he had to do was get across the 30 as a result of the touchback following the missed field goal. So he does have a 1st down. Mark Harper on the coverage, and that makes the Cleveland Browns feel a lot better. They have their cornerbacks back, a little bit healthy now. Harper has missed the entire season up to this point, so he looked pretty good on that coverage, even though they're able to get the 1st down with a 5-yard throw.
Talking to one personnel director, Scott, who scouts all the NFL players, he said that Marino absolutely has not lost any arm strength over his 8 years in all those throws. Just as quick a snap release as he ever had. Now here's an on-target throw to Farrell Edmonds out to midfield, as Marino again drills in a liner right on the numbers.
One of the things a free safety has to do is he has to time the hit right. He has a chance to knock this ball down, but he wants to get a big hit here. Take a look at Thane Gash as he comes up and hits from the back, and he's able to shake him off. You got to take him from the front and separate him from the ball. A mistimed hit by Gash enabled Farrell Edmonds to make the catch.
Number 13, Dan Marino. The last time Cleveland won an NFL championship in 1964, they were quarterbacked by a number 13, Frank Ryan. Now to the run goes Sammy Smith, and he breaks into the Browns secondary and inside the 40 down to the 38-yard line. Mike Johnson on the tackle.
Last week you can see the numbers by Sammy Smith. Those were really down. And a byproduct of that, in fairness, is take a look at the front 5. This is a young group. They're coming off the ball, big people. They get a push backwards. Sammy Smith cuts to the outside. It's a good block up top by Mark Duper to enable Sammy Smith to get the extra yardage. Don Shula admitted to us yesterday, Don, the fact that they are going to make some mistakes because they're young, but there's no replacing experience. At 82, they kind of been doing too many things wrong.
Yeah, he said a Sammy Smith run. Limerick now gets the call, not for very much on 1st down. Interesting how we trained him, said Shula. We stuck him in there at the start of the preseason and let him learn on the job.
And also said that they gave up an awful lot of sacks. They played some tough people with some tough pass rushers. But that experience helped them immensely, and now they're going to have to rise to the occasion and get old down the stretch, because they have some tough games coming up.
The big thing they bring in these is size. Miami did not have a lot of big people up front in recent years. Last season, the Dolphins were 24th on defense. This year, they've gone to number 1. Their offense has changed also. It's a much more balanced attack. Almost an even break between run and throw, although today they've come out pitching in very well. Marino throws again. Little low to Mark Duper on the same pattern. Duper run to score the game's only touchdown.
But he's mixing it up, and that's a good thing. The offensive coordinator for Miami has done a good job of mixing run and pass. They're out by, this is a comeback, but Claiborne's not buying. Claiborne has good coverage here, and the ball is short. Nice job by Raymond Claiborne, a 35-year-old cornerback. But the Cleveland Browns were able to get Plan B from New England. 14-year veteran Raymond Claiborne has been a 3-time Pro Bowler, an outstanding cornerback. Terrific career for number 26.
And overall, Claiborne grades out well this year. Jerry Stevens, the Dolphins quarterback coach, coached Vinny Testaverde and Bernie Kosar at Miami of Florida. Long ball to the end zone. Touchdown Miami to James Pruitt. So Marino, who has been a bit quiet with the long ball this year, going to a much shorter passing game, today hits the deep throw, a 35-yard touchdown throw right on the hands of James Pruitt, who falls into the end zone, and the Dolphins lead 13-0.
Terrific throw. Nice touch here. A little bit of an in move, and Blaylock turned completely around. He didn't get out of his back pedal soon enough. There's a certain point to where the cornerback has to turn around and run. In the case of Blaylock, he did it too late. Nice over-the-shoulder catch by Pruitt for the touchdown.
And Marino's numbers for the season jumping up markedly. He now has 13 touchdown throws against 8 interceptions. Stoyanovich to try the point after. He hits it with 1:23 to play in the first quarter. And the Miami Dolphins go out in front 14-0 at Cleveland. So Marino with the hot hand, and the Dolphins are rolling.
Right about here is where he should turn. He should turn right now and run with the receiver because there's no move. But he's still into his back pedal, and as Pruitt runs by him, you can see the 3 to 5 yard gap that enabled Pruitt to get the touchdown. That's a field play for the defensive back. He's got to know when to turn around. In that case, he didn't.
He missed the turn, and Marino hit the numbers. He is now 6 of 9 throwing the ball, Dan Marino, for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marino with the season in '84, by which all others will be measured, over 5,000 yards passing and 48 touchdowns. Took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl that year when he was just 23 years old. Stoyanovich kicks off yet again, and again Brent Fullwood runs it back for Cleveland. He's to the 27-yard line. It is a doubleheader day on NBC Sports, and the doubleheader game, one of the best. Most of you will see the Raiders at home to play the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that beat the Raiders a little earlier in the season on a very cold day at Arrowhead, 9-7. Others will see the Steelers and the Jets tee it up in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. The Patriots meet the Cardinals at Phoenix. Check your local listings for the doubleheader game in your area. Here in Cleveland, it's the Dolphins 14, the Browns nothing, late in the first quarter. Browns ran well their last possession, and then stopped running, started throwing, and didn't score. Now, Kosar under a lot of pressure. David Griggs was blitzing from the outside, and he throws an errant pass, 2nd and 10. The Giants got a touchdown pass from Phil Simms to Mark Ingram. They lead the Eagles 7-0. Indianapolis with a touchdown throw from Jeff George to Jesse Heston. They've come from behind to lead the Bengals at Cincinnati. Kosar 3 of 7 throwing the ball for 42 yards. Pitch back. Metcalf. Good block from Kevin Mack, and Metcalf is ahead to the 35-yard line. Offerdahl, number 56, on the tackle again.
With the effectiveness of them running the ball, I'm surprised they haven't done this, just leave the pass alone. Kevin Mack comes out and does a good job blocking out on Hugh Green, and that enables Metcalf to cut back for the 5 yards. The offensive line for the Browns is doing an excellent job of getting a good push on the front 7 of the Dolphins.
A reminder at the end of today's broadcast, McDonald's and NBC will be announcing the Ronald McDonald Children's Charities Player of the Game. Right now, Dolphin quarterback Dan Marino has a leg up on that with 2 touchdown throws. On 3rd and a long 4. A throw and a catch, good for a first down. As Kosar threads it into Reggie Langhorne.
I can tell you one of the toughest injuries you can ever have as a football player is broken ribs. Reggie Langhorne had broken ribs, and that's why he's been missing the last couple of games. Finally, now he is completely healthy, and he is a great alternate to Webster Slaughter. They've been together a long time. Just a simple delay route. He cuts like he's going to the outside. The knife's inside, hoping to get a little bit of a pick. Lays it right in there, and he pays the price from both Brown and Hobley.
So the first quarter ends with Miami in command, 14-0. With a defeat, the gin kick with this bust up the middle, got into the end zone, and the Dolphins continued winning on their way to a Super Bowl victory with a 20-14 win over the Browns. And Shula was the coach then, and he talked about, a lot of people forgot, certainly Dolphin fans didn't, but the previous season the Dolphins were also in the Super Bowl and beaten badly by the Cowboys. And that really fanned the fire all season long to come back and win it, and they did. The perfect year of 72. Kosar on first down. Out pattern, he's a little high for Langhorne.
A lot of people don't remember, Don, too, the fact that the Dolphins are the only team to ever go to 3 straight Super Bowls. They came back the next year and won it again.
Shula, as we mentioned, has great memories of this stadium. He and one of his assistant coaches, Carl Tess, have played at John Carroll University here in Cleveland. And Don was saying yesterday that if you wore your letter sweater, you could get into the end zone, which is now the dog pound for 50 cents. And he and Tassif were there in 1950 when the Browns in their first year in the NFL beat the Rams for the league championship. And he said he and Tassif might have been the first two guys on the field celebrating with the Browns when it was over.
And 8 years later, they had a defensive back named Jim Schaffner played for him.
Out pattern to Eric Metcalf, but he can't go far. David Grigg gets him. Now let's go to New York and Bob Costas at NFL Live. Bob?
All right, Don, after an Ickey Woods touchdown, the point after was blocked, so it was only 6-0 Cincinnati, and then Jeff George put Indianapolis in front with his 19-yard bullet to Jesse Hester. The conversion made it Indy 7, Cincy 6, but the Bengals are inside the Indianapolis 5 right now. Don?
Thank you, Bob. As we see the clock tick down, 14-19 to play in the first half. Cleveland Browns needing points. LA Dolphins 14-0. Dan Marino's thrown for 2 touchdowns already in this game. Third down throw. Not close. Langhorne and Kozar were not in sync there as Langhorne ran an out pattern and Kozar was throwing a deep ball.
That was great coverage by Tim McKyer. Tim McKyer proclaims himself as the Michael Jordan of cornerbacks. Take a look at how he sticks right on Langhorne. He doesn't buy any of the moves, pushes him to the outside, and uses the sideline as an assistant. Look at that. There's no way he's going to catch that ball. Great coverage by Tim McKyer, the former 49er, who has really provided a lot of leadership for this defense, Don.
He surely has. It's one of the reasons the Dolphins have such an excellent pass rush, 35 sacks, is because there's not a lot to throw to. They're getting great cornerback coverage. Downfield punt by Wagner, and Schwady fair catches the ball for Miami at the 22-yard line. A 39-yard punt. And Marino and the Dolphin offense, high-tech, high power in this game, ready to go back when we come back.
Who's got the marketing plan?
I think offensive coordinators can be a problem. It's something that Kosar's had to live with here in Cleveland on that time.
Well, certainly over the last 5 years, he hasn't been working with the exact same people. He's got a different group every single year, it seems like. Take a look here at the coordinators. 1990, now he has Schaffner, but going back to 85, up to this point, 5 different offensive coordinators with 5 very different terminologies. Bernie Kosar is one of the most intelligent quarterbacks in the league, and he has to be.
Well, Gary Stevens, who coaches Dan Marino now, of course, Kosar in college, says he's got to believe he knows everything that defense has. And if there's a weakness, he's going to get to it. Sammy Smith runs now for the Dolphins. Tom Olivadotti, who is the defensive coordinator of the Dolphins, and as a former Cleveland coach, said the thing that concerns you, everybody talks about Kosar not having mobility, but he said he does have limited mobility, but he uses it differently. What he does is he scrambles looking to throw. He does a lot of guys make a decision, there's no throw, so I'm going to run. Kosar's always thinking throw, and he buys time by that sideways scramble, and he can hit an open guy in the run. Right now, it's Dan Marino at the controls as he throws and makes the connection to big Jared Limbrick. A 240-pound fullback is out to the 31-yard line.
The fans start to boo, and a lot of that has to do with a missed tackling. It just doesn't look like Cleveland is in sync yet. They're just not knocking people down. Limerick does a good job. Watch him just swat Clay Matthews away. Almost had a sack here. Now watch this. Just throws him off to the side. Get out of the way. And here he cuts upfield, gets away from Michael Dean Perry, and is willing to sacrifice his body. Take a look at this. He just wants to give it up. This is one of those great collegiate moves. Look at me, coach. Look at how bad I want it. And, of course, Limerick doesn't get the ball much, so he wants to milk it as much as he can.
Right, he's here to block. He blocked for Barry Sanders in Oklahoma State as he rushed for a Heisman Trophy for the Cowboys. Now Marino on 3rd down and 3, throws a hard. Look at Jim Jensen, a one-hand grab. First down Dolphins as old Crash Jensen. The old dog has new tricks.
Well, you know, I'd be amazed, except I've seen him do this time and time again. With Mark Clayton on the sidelines and also with Freddie Banks hurt, more and more Dan Marino goes to Jensen in clutch situations.
But this is
reaching back with a one-handed catch. Is there a position on the field that Jim Jensen can't play?
Or hasn't. I think he's played them all. Last year from Boston U.
I was going to say last week was indicative of how they're going to him. Normally he's like a 3 or 4 catch guy again. He had 7 catches for 79 yards last week against the Raiders.
I did check on his gloves for fish hooks. Throws it up and it sticks, and now it's first down Miami. To the run go the Dolphins. Sammy Smith thundering straight ahead. as he's out to the 41-yard line. 11:35 to play in the first half. As we check the Xerox 10-minute ticker, Randall Cunningham's thrown a 49-yard touchdown pass to the Eagles. They've tied the Giants. And the Vikings got a 2-yard touchdown run from Herschel Walker, and they're in front of the Bears.
Don, it doesn't appear that the short week of working out has bothered the Dolphins at all. That's one of the things we addressed to coaches and players yesterday. But Don Shula told us, I don't think so. He said, despite the youth of this team, I think they're mature enough to understand that you go from week to week, and 5 days of preparation isn't going to bother us.
Good point. He said, we're not looking at an 8-2 record. We're looking at rebound from a loss. And now they go to the power run again, and Sammy Smith on 2nd down and 4 is ahead for another Miami first down.
Well, Sammy Smith is just carrying people. That's about the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen him tackle for what appeared to be about a 2-yard gain, and then he just uses those strong legs to push forward, get 5-6 extra yards. There's no way the Browns can be fatigued here. This is too early in the game. Take a look at these pushes these people back. With some help by his fullback Limerick, granted, there's no way that should have been a 6-yard gain.
But it was, and it's a first down for Miami. Smith, a 230-pound back. Limerick, the up front man, leads the blocking. And Smith is to midfield. Now Bukowski, number 94, made the stop for Cleveland. Browns come in, ranked 17th in the NFL on defense.
Bob Bukowski was a former first-round pick of the Los Angeles Raiders back in 1986, but a combination of a weight problem and some health problems in the shoulders caused him to be somewhat of a nomad around the league, and now it appears that he might have finally found a home with the Browns. He's playing some pretty good football.
And well over 70,000 at Cleveland Stadium voicing their displeasure with the Browns, who were looking sharp earlier, but now giving up big chunks of yards, play after play to Miami.
That graphic you saw earlier there indicates the fact that Cleveland's just giving up way too many points, 27 a game.
Tony Martin had it and lost it as he turns out on Raymond Claiborne.
Claiborne did a good job of separating him from the ball. Raymond's been around. He knows what to do. Still, that was a very catchable pass. Comeback route that seems to be so effective. Watch Raymond close. A little bit of a bobble right here, and that's when he hits him and strips him. Good play by Claiborne, but not a good play by Martin.
This is one of 2 teams, Cleveland is, that Don Shula does not have a winning record as a head coach against. He's 3-4 against the Browns, and against your old friends the Raiders, Todd, he's 2-9. 3rd down, crowd starts up. Marino and the Dolphins need 7. What a throw to Duper. Mark Duper on the run, flying down, and makes the play. That Marino has absolutely been extraordinary.
Well, Minifield actually has pretty good coverage here. Now watch him cut to the inside. He throws this between 2 different people. Minifield wanted him to the inside, and he reaches back, and look what I found. Marino does a terrific job there, and Duper really, that was a lucky catch. Look at that. Oh, okay, I'll catch it. He was surprised as heck to come up with that football.
A couple of different looks. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Terry Eward. Our director, Andy Rosenberg. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. We have 8 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the first half. Miami up 14-0 and driving again on Cleveland. That time, the Dolphins were out of sync as Jensen ran an in pattern. Duper ran one.
That's an option route. You can see that Dan Marino was running down to Duper to say, look, you should have gone to the corner on that, not to the post. When he plays you inside out, that means you go to the corner. That's what he's explaining to him right now. Watch the coverage he gets from the outside. It's inside out, which means now I'm going to go outside, not to the post. I break in and cut out. That's what Marino is reading. That's why he was throwing to the outside, because if he has inside-out coverage, he wants to throw the ball to the outside on the corner route, and Duper broke it off.
Clayton skirting the rules there as far as interference. He was pushing all the way, but no flag. Now on 2nd and 10. Dolphins go to the run. Smith is taken down by Cleveland at the 18-yard line, a gain of just 1 yard. Tony Blaylock, number 24, a cornerback, made the stop. Blaylock scored the only touchdown in Cleveland's opening victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 13-3 win. He scored the only touchdown of the game. Picked up a fumble and went in.
Good job of run support by Blaylock. Getting back to Duper, there are a lot of people in the press down there in Miami who have claimed that he has lost a step. They feel like he isn't the contributor he was a couple of years ago when he continued to churn out 1,000-yard seasons. But so far today, I'd have to say he's looking pretty good, Don.
Yes, he is. 3 touchdown passes this year. He had only 2 in the previous 2 seasons. Dan Marino is getting very close to the 30,000 career passing mark. Throw up the middle to Jensen, and that should take Dan Marino over the top, the youngest player to ever hit 30,000 career passing yards, fewest games.
Dan Marino, once again, just threads the needle. That's unbelievable, and he did it in a lot less time than the others. This is only his 8th season in the National Football League. Jim Jensen running a circle route. Mike Johnson has him in coverage. He just cuts inside.
It's unbelievable.
Clay Matthews is coming over. Once again, that wasn't bad coverage, but Marino is just on. That's the reason right there, ladies and gentlemen. This man has thrown for 30,000 yards in his career, and he's only 29 years of age. Incredible.
We've all, Todd, seen this guy have some great games, many of them, but I've never seen him look better than today. He's not had a 300-yard passing game this season. He could go for 4 today. 7,003 in his 18 seasons, and now Dan Marino, in just 8 seasons, has hit over 30,000 yards, 11th all time. Got to go another 10 years and eclipse Tarkenton. Marino in the best physical shape he's probably ever been in. You see the number of games. That's what's impressive. He's thrown for 30,000 in 114 games. Stouts was the next quickest to do it in 131 games.
That says a lot not only about his skill, but about his durability as well, Don.
Into the end zone goes Sammy Smith as the Browns missed tackles. The heart was out of the Cleveland defense on that play.
Sammy Smith went through him like there was nothing there. Standard off tackle. They went to a 3 tight end set at the 5-yard line, and really that usually benefits the defense. They're jammed in there. They know they're going to run the ball. They break down in their splits a little bit, but a good job there. There you can see right over the right guard. Ulan Hockey gets Dean Perry out of the way, and Smith is able to walk in practically.
As Marino and Shula were saying yesterday, we've got to score more points. They found the right place to do it today, Cleveland Stadium. As Stoyanovich will try for his 3rd point after this game. No go, so Cleveland comes up big on the kick block. Blaylock got in and got him on an errant snap. But it's a 20-0 game, Miami. 7:07 to play in the half.
Well, Jeff Uhlenhake's snap is a little bit low, but Scott Secules has plenty of time to get it out, but you can see right there he just doesn't have the handle, and Stoyanovich has already swung through. As a result, the quarterback has to pay the price. Normally, Secules would never get dirty, but now he can go into the locker room and say, hey, look, fellas, I played.
Backup QB, and they like him as a backup QB. Secules from the University of Virginia. Now Stoyanovich ready to kick off to number 29 of Cleveland, Brent Fullwood. Who departed company with Green Bay. They expected him to be a great runner, but he was only sporadically. .707 to go in the first half. The Dolphins have really put on an offensive show, probably their best offensive performance since the Buffalo game, which they won 30-7. The special teams, terrific. Brent Fullwood carried it, but down to make the tackle on the play was Kerry Glenn. Now let's go back to New York to NFL Live. Bob? We're still at Cleveland. We'll be going there shortly as we have 6:57 to play in the first half. 20-0 Miami. Dolphins, as we mentioned, come in with 35 sacks this year. Second in the NFL. Kansas City with Derek Thomas, who has 15 personally, leads the league at 37. There's Kevin Mack trying to turn the corner. He does. Got a good block from Langhorne, number 88. And now we'll send it back to New York to NFL Live. And Bob Costas. Bob?
On our last update concerning the Cincinnati-Indianapolis game, we had the Bengals inside the 5, but Ickey Woods fumbled into the end zone. That drive went down the drain. Indy took the ball, and they went 80 yards for a touchdown. The key play on the drive, this 43-yard run by Eric Dickerson, his longest from scrimmage of the year. Eventually, Dickerson scores from the 1. Colts 14, Cincy 6.
So a possible upset in the afternoon. Now Kosar throws an out pattern, and it is incomplete, dropped by Eric Metcalf.
You can see by the look on his face, he's disgusted with himself. When things go bad, they really go bad. Eric Metcalf, one of the more sure-handed backs out of the backfield, has a certain first down, but he just drops it. Kosar looks downfield, does a good job looking off, comes back. Simple pattern right there. Has some running room. Just can't hold it.
He's caught 39 passes. That was just a blatant drop. He doesn't have many of those. And he'll try to make up for it now as he comes to a slot on the left side. 4 wide receiver set. But they go to the lone back, Kevin Mack, on 3rd down and short, and Mack powers his way for a Browns first down. Lifford Hobley, an extra defensive back, was the man who tackled him.
Actually, Lifford Hobley had him in coverage. He had Kevin Mack coming out of the backfield because of the 4 wide receiver situation. But Kevin Mack just shows how much stronger he is. Take a look at Hobley. He's going to come up and meet him right in the hole. If he drops him right where he hits him, they don't get the first down. But Mack is just too strong. And he drags Lifford Hobley for about 5 yards and a first down for the Browns.
Big Kevin Mack from Clemson. Started out in the U.S. Football League. And first down, Kosar with a 5-step drop, a little low as he tries the out pattern to Eric Metcalf. That brings up 2nd down and 10. The Browns, coming into this season, over the previous 4 seasons, had won more games than any team in the NFL over that 4-year period, including the 49ers.
Just a bad throw by Bernie. Trying to get the ball once again to Metcalf.
You see their worst start since 1984. Cleveland off to a 2-8 start. And they've got a big hole to climb out of right now. They're down 20-0 to Miami. 5:43 to play in the first half.
Audible into something.
Out pattern to Brian Brennan. Well done by Cleveland for a first down. They needed 10 on 2nd down. Brennan right in the right spot. Got 11. McKyer was covering.
You know what I like about Brian Brennan, Don? Take a look at his jersey. Take a look at what he has. The socks are kind of low. He doesn't have 8 sweatbands. He doesn't have a perfectly manicured shirt. He doesn't have it tapered to his body. He's just somebody that I assume shows up about 15 minutes before the game, puts on the pads and shoes, puts on his jersey and says, okay, let's go play.
Yeah, he's a true professional, and McKyer was high in his praise of Brennan yesterday.
Look at those sleeves. Look at those socks. That's great. I like to see that.
McKyer said Webster Slaughter gets the press, and he's good, but that Brian Brennan gives you a lot of trouble also. Here's an out pattern. Pop. Newsom ahead for 9.
Oh, I like to see him throw to that tight end. Ozzie Newsom with his 654th career catch. That's way ahead of any other tight end, and he's a certain Hall of Famer. Talked to Ozzie yesterday, and he still is a little bit excited about the game, but he's getting a little bit tired, too. I mean, we came into the league the same year. He's 34 years of age.
Is that right?
But he can say, don't act like he's so old. Give me a break.
That's his 13th year.
46 career touchdowns, over 7,800 yards. Look at that.
I don't think that's old at all.
549 attempts his last season. He's never fumbled the ball since 1980. That's consistent.
The Wizard of Oz, Kevin Mack, gets the call on 2nd and short, and the spot's going to be ahead for a first down.
Oh, my
There's
goodness.
a couple of tight ends of note.
A couple of real old ones. I like Ozzie Newsom. Who's that stiff to his
The
left?
past and the present.
Ozzie Newsom is a class act. Interesting quote by Lionel Taylor, his coach. He said, you know, there's a lot of things that you can inherit, but you can't inherit class. He says, I am lucky. I got Ozzie Newsom. I inherited class.
He's been that way his entire career. One of the all-time greats at Alabama. Good from the day he walked into camp as a rookie here in Cleveland. Sidearm throw downfield, and Webster Slaughter wasn't even looking. And running it back is Lewis Oliver. And this is really bringing the wrath of his Cleveland teammates on Webster Slaughter, who didn't even pay attention to where the ball was thrown.
That was just a bad decision by Bernie Kosar. If he's going to throw the ball away, throw it out of bounds. He has Webster Slaughter in the vicinity, and all he has to do is throw it out of bounds. Webster looks back and knows, well, the play is dead, so he's just jogging right here. Sure, that's the fault of Slaughter, but there's no way Bernie should have thrown that ball. He's rolling to his left, and he's trying to avoid the sack, and he just flips it sidearm down the field. Take a look at it. He throws off his back foot, fading to the left. Look at that. Just trying to get rid of it. Throws it right into the arms of Oliver. Actually, you should have seen J.B. Brown as he walked off the field. He was disgusted, and the reason was because that was his interception. Either one of those two could have had it.
Lewis Oliver got it, his 4th of the year. Slaughter just quit on his pattern and left it wide open for the Dolphins to capitalize. First turnover of the game, and it gives Miami very good field position again at the 45-yard line of the Browns. Last year, Webster Slaughter was an all-pro player. 65 receptions, over 1,200 yards receiving. And the first Pro Bowl receiver for the Cleveland Browns at wide receiver since Paul Warfield in the 1970s. That was not a Pro Bowl play, though, as the Dolphins come back running, and Sammy Smith takes it inside the 45-yard line. Scoreboard changing around the NFL. The Eagles have now gone in front of the Giants. Randall Cunningham in a 1-yard run. And the Vikings laying waste to the Chicago Bears. Minnesota all of a sudden getting its game back, looking for a 4th consecutive win. Rich Gannon has thrown for 2 touchdowns, the last to Hassan Jones. Green Bay on a Dillwig touchdown pass is up on Tampa Bay. Now it is 2nd down and 8 as you see for Miami. Another on-target throw by Dan Marino. This to Troy Stratford for 15 yards and a 1st down.
Don, you called it earlier. I'm surprised myself. I don't think I've ever seen Marino this sharp, and I played in a game with him back in '84 when he threw for 476 yards and 4 touchdowns. He looks as sharp as I've ever seen him.
That was sharp. 484 and touchdown. Another throw, another catch. This one is lost, though. Stratford had it and lost it. It was right where it had to be, and the clock is down to 2:12 to play, first half.
Thane Gash did a good job of getting the ball out of the arms of Troy Stratford. A little high, but right there, look at that. Does a good job with the left hand, stripping Stratford of the ball. Good play by Thane Gash.
Down to the 30. With 2nd down and 10 coming up. Dan Marino, as you see, up to 164 yards throwing already today. Stratford. Ahead for maybe 3 yards to the 26-yard line.
Once again, it's missed tackles. They had it the wide receiver, at the left wide receiver, they had Jim Jensen, who came down to cut back. But Claiborne misses the tackle.
On NBC, Dexter Manley says he would not have played for the New England Patriots if they had claimed him. Dexter, back off drug suspension, is heading to the Cardinals. And an NFL personnel director says that Todd Marinovich, the Southern California quarterback, should stay in school. He's a redshirt sophomore, so he's got a lot of time ahead of him. And we'll be joining Messrs. McDonough, Costas, and Simpson at halftime. I think Lou Holtz is going to stay at Notre Dame next year, not coach the Minnesota Vikings. 3rd down and 6, throw downfield, and it's just short of his intended receiver, Mark Duper.
Good job by Raymond Claiborne. What Marino was looking for was a peak, for Duper to come back and peak so he could slow down and let Claiborne keep going. But Raymond's seen that before. Raymond's been around. Good coverage on Duper.
Another interesting development, virtually every personnel director I've talked to in the NFL, including one today, says that Raghib Ismail of Notre Dame, the Rocket, would be the #1 pick in the draft if he came out this year. Raghib has told his coaches and his fellow players he absolutely plans on going back for senior year to Notre Dame.
Well, if Larry Johnson could do it and give up all those millions of dollars in Vegas, why can't Ismail do it?
Stoyanovich is wide left. So the Dolphins, on a near-perfect day, miss one. But they still lead the game 20-0. Kerry Glenn actually gets it. 35, not 25. The extra defensive back, Kerry Glenn, gets the pick and the touchdown, a 31-yard return.
This is not what Bernie had in mind when he was talking about a birthday present. This is just a terrible throw on a slant. Kerry Glenn comes off of his man to make the play. Bernie doesn't see him coming off his man because he assumes it's man-for-man coverage, and Glenn just does a good job.
We have delay of game, demonstration on 35 on the offense, penalized on the kickoff.
Kerry Glenn was in coverage on Eric Metcalf, and he just came off of his man when he saw the throw coming underneath the Slaughter. Bernie just flat out didn't see him, hence the touchdown.
And Bernie has lost form. He's now thrown interceptions on his last 2 passes. This one on a touchdown return by Kerry Glenn of 31 yards. And the Dolphins extend their lead to 27-0.
Watch Kerry Glenn to the left. Look, he has him in coverage. Now he's going to come off. Now watch when he sees Kozar throw. He lets him go and comes off. Kozar didn't know that Kerry Glenn was going to come off his man. He just flat out didn't see him and just handed him a touchdown.
Zeke Bratkowski, the former Packer, counseling Kozar along with head coach Jim Schaffner. Interesting experience levels in this game, Todd. Don Shula, in his 28th year as a head coach, is coaching his 434th game. Jim Schaffner, his 2nd NFL head coaching game.
I thought it interesting, too, when you pointed out that Don Shula was on that team that won the NFL championship back in 1950. Except for 2 years as an assistant college coach, he has been in the NFL ranks as an assistant or a head coach for some 40 years.
Yeah.
And that certainly is the reason why he was just a little ways away from being the all-time winningest head football coach in NFL history.
Actually, he was a viewer of that 1950 game, Todd. Then in 1951, he was the only rookie that made the Cleveland Browns team. Coming out of John Carroll, now Brent Fullwood ready to run it back. It's been 5 years since the Dolphins have run back an interception for a touchdown, prior to the last one by Kerry Glenn. Stoyanovich hits it downfield to the 8-yard line. Brent Fullwood dives across the 25-yard line to the 30. We like to advise those of you watching along the line, except in Ohio and Florida, much of this network will be switched to a possible upset in the making. Indianapolis leading the Bengals at Cincinnati. As right now, the Browns en route to their 6th consecutive loss, their 8th loss in the last 9 games. Unless they find magic in the second half, Todd, and right now there isn't any out there.
Well, their only victory came in a home opener against the Steelers, and since then they haven't been able to win at home.
The only other win they had was at Denver. Yeah, they not have any home field advantage this year. Here's a downfield throw and a catch by Metcalf. Eric Metcalf riding low as those big Dolphin safeties come in to try to hammer him.
There's no way that's going to count, Don. That was a screen they were trying to set up, and both Paul Farron and Greg Riccozzi were downfield. It's going to come back.
That's right. Illegal receivers downfield.
We have an ineligible receiver downfield, number 74 on the offense. First down.
Now, you know what, Don, this really isn't his fault because this is a timing pattern. Now, right here, right now, he's supposed to throw the screen off to the left, but he can't do it. Now he scrambles around. The offensive linemen are waiting and waiting, and there's some 5 yards downfield. Now, Bernie makes the play, granted, but it's supposed to be a screen pass. And so, while you can blame Paul Farron, the point is he's downfield thinking it's a screen pass.
A difficult time for Art Modell, who's been a signal figure in the NFL, has had enormous success. 19 playoff games in 29 years as an owner. But this is a very off year for everyone in Cleveland, and it's not getting any better as Kevin Mack drops a ball on the flank.
People always talk about momentum on the positive side of things. It works the other way, too. If one guy's having a poor game, it can infect the whole group. Kind of like the old adage of one bad apple spoils the whole bunch. Browns are really struggling here. And it's surprising because when Bud Carson was fired, Art Modell made the point that, hey, I didn't give him an expansion team. I gave him some players. They have 10 Pro Bowl players on this roster.
With a playoff team the last 5 years, Bill Parcells, the coach of the Giants, Todd, has an interesting observation on intensity. He said that's the key to winning. And when you start to lose, it's like measles. First one gets it, then all of a sudden 4, then 8, then 16, then schools close.
Well, and that's what happens. In situations like this, individuals have to rise to the occasion.
Metcalf caught it on the ricochet, and he's across midfield.
What I mean by that cliched comment is that you have to look at yourself as a player and say right at this point, all right, I know that things are difficult. I know that we're struggling, but I got to take care of my business. And if enough people do that, good things will happen. Bernie Kosar is trying to get the ball here to Brian Brennan. It's a little bit too much, and Brian Brennan reaches out with a one-hand tip. 10 years ago, that wouldn't have counted.
That's right.
Just ask Mel Renfro in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
John Mackey.
Now it can go off one offensive player to another, and it's still good for a reception. 45 seconds left on the clock as the Browns struggle to try to get something up before halftime.
Never mind the winning or losing here. The Cleveland Browns want to get down here and score. They want to show that they can do it in the 2-minute offense. I mean, you look up and you don't want to say we're going to try to score 4 touchdowns in 5 minutes. Just see if you can get some points before the half so you can go in with just a little bit of momentum.
Scheduling is tough for the Miami Dolphins the rest of the way, as it is for their rival in the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. They both have to play some tough NFC Eastern teams. Bills have to play the Giants in New Jersey, where the Dolphins suffered one of their losses this year, beaten by the Giants. Both have to go to Washington. Downfield throw, it's caught and lost by Brian Brennan. He thought he had it and dropped it and picked it up. McKyer was covering on the play.
Yeah, Michael Jordan McKyer went for the interception, and he almost paid for it. But he got enough of a piece of it that Brian Brennan couldn't hold on to it. Take a look at Art Modell. That says it all. It's a microcosm of the season right there. That's a beleaguered man.
They're so used to winning in this town. There's been a lot of good years. 3 of the last 4 years, they've come within a game of going to the Super Bowl. Kosar on 2nd down and 10. Right to Brian Brennan.
Don, this might not be as big a deal as Marino getting 30,000 yards, but Brian Brennan has just passed on the all-time list Milt Morin and Paul Warfield. Pretty good company.
Indeed, and here's the throw to Mack up the middle as the Dolphins zone gives them plenty of room, but times are wasting now as the clock is down to 14 and stop. I was interested, though, Todd, what you said about when a team is down, what you do to get out of it.
Cleveland.
By taking care of your own business. It's up to each guy to play hard.
Well, there's a tendency when you're out there, you're inclined to say, well, you know, Bernie's making some bad throws, or our defense isn't stopping anybody, or it's so-and-so's fault because he just got beat in coverage. And you get caught up in that. It's a scapegoating. It's blame. You know, you're pointing the finger at people, and that's counterproductive. What coaches try to do here is you say to yourself, all right, what is it I have to do? Let me take care of my assignments. And I know that sounds a little bit individualistic, but that's what creates the success of the teams, is individuals who say to themselves, I will not be beat. It sounds a little melodramatic, but I think that's something that the Browns have to do at this point because, let's face it, they're struggling.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be because they know they're not going to be in the playoffs. And losing this one means they'll not have a winning record. It's impossible to get one. They will draft high, though, the way they're going, and everybody's speculating they're wondering about offensive tackles. That's what Cleveland would like to get, a guy like Richmond Webb of the Dolphins. Kosar takes a look. There's that scramble. Looking for a receiver. None there. They might call intentional grounding. Penalty marker goes down.
Came from the side, Judge. It's probably holding.
That's a holding, all right. But it's on Cleveland with 6 seconds to play in the half.
They'd be wise to take the penalty because that would certainly push him out of field goal range with only 6 seconds left in the half. This was a call.
Holding, 74 offense, first down.
This was a call last week on the Monday night game that Don Shula got criticized for. Take a look at Paul Farron, E.J. Jr. trying to get inside. Has him to the inside, and right there, it looks like he's tackling. They can call that on any play. Boy, that's a subjective call. What I was going to say, though, with regards to the Shula call, is they stopped the Raiders, forced him to kick a 42-yard field goal, but on that 3rd down, they could have taken the holding penalty and made it a 52-yard attempt, but Don Shula opted not to, and that turned out to be the margin in the game.
And they had the touchdown that was negated. Here's a throw to Brian Brennan inside the 20-yard line. 1 second left, so the Browns can either try for a field goal, and that's what they're going to do as Corrick comes out. Just to get something up.
I don't know why the fans are booing Don. I think that this is a good thing for them. I know they're booing him because maybe he missed last time, but that was a great throw by Kosar to Brennan to say it only took 5 seconds, which I might question whoever the timer is. But a good opportunity for the Browns to just get something on the board, just get a little, as Mick Jagger would say, some satisfaction.
There's some of that. 36-yard field goal, and this time Corrick powers it right through the uprights. So the Browns get something in an otherwise disappointing first half. But a great performance by Coach Shula's Dolphins as they have extended their lead to 27-3.
164 yards in just one half of work.
Now the kickoff by Cleveland, a high spinner downfield. And running it back is Mark Higgs across the 20 for the Dolphins out to the 22-yard line. So now, Dan Marino in the offense comes back out. Marino, who talked about getting more points, really getting them today.
Well, you know, Don, when they head into these crucial games and teams take away their running game, Dan Marino has to prove that he can do the things that he has done in the past, and today he has certainly done that.
Setting from the 23-yard line in the I-set. Browns close it down quickly. Sammy Smith was stopped by Michael Dean Perry and Eddie Johnson.
Michael Dean Perry, a long time ago, is no longer considered Fridge's little brother, and the reason for that is because he's been in the Pro Bowl, and his brother William has not. Outstanding football player, Michael Dean Perry, one of the 2 or 3 best in the league. He just gets right past the right guard, coming across his web, and he just stuffs the play. Look at that. Not only does he stuff the play, he makes the play. Michael Dean Perry.
Now the Dolphins go second down and 12. That lightning release. Shane Gass was defending Troy Stradford on the play. Stradford looking for a penalty call. None came. And it'll now be third down at 12.
We talk about Michael Dean Perry, how good he is. This is why. He commands double coverage right here. Look at that. In the middle of the field, you can see right there, 75 is coming, but the center, Uhlenhawk, isn't even looking at him. He's going over to double-team Michael Dean Perry, who leads the team in sacks with 8.
One of the 7 Perry brothers. And Michael Dean says the oldest brother, Holly, was far and away the best athlete. Penalty markers down all over the field as Marino drops to throw on third down.
False start. 69 offense. Right down.
Referee Tom Dooley with a false start call.
Well, Keith Sims was the one they caught. Again, this is one of the young mistakes that he was talking about. Watch him rock back. He knows it's a pass, and he's got to get back there. He rocks back a little too soon, and the ref caught it.
So now we'll see the rapid-fire right arm of Dan Marino. Let it go long. Third down. Coming up, the Dolphins need 17. Now he jumps off. Screen to Jensen. And he's not going to get there. Out to the 25-yard line. So the Browns hold on their opening series on the defensive side in the third quarter, and now Cleveland will get the ball for the first time in the second half on a punt.
Dan Marino, this is a great call. You can see Blaylock coming from the right on a corner blitz. Jim Jensen isn't that nifty in the open field, but he does a good job heading north and south to enable punter Reggie Roby to now have a little bit more breathing room. Reggie Roby, by the way, is 8th on the all-time list of punters.
Reggie not getting a lot of work today, Todd. This is his first punt. Ooh. Boy, he puts a charge into it all the way back to Brian Brennan, fair catching at his 24.
Now, who told him to fair catch that? That's a 52-yard net that Reggie Roby gets as a result of that kick. I know that Brian Brennan might not like to return kicks, but come on. There's at least 15 yards between he and any of the Dolphins. You can see him smiling right there knowing, hey, I made a mistake.
He's not normally their punt returner.
Look at the gap. There's at least 10, 15 yards. Where's the Dolphin? You see one? Now they come. He knows it right when he did it, too.
The recently cut Stephon Adams was the Cleveland Browns punt returner. He's out of here after having a bad day on the field last Sunday against Warren Moon and the Oilers. Eric Metcalf breaks ahead across the 30-yard line. A first down run is good for 7. Now, let's go back to New York to NFL Live. Bob?
All right, Don, this is Jeff George to Billy Brooks, not to be confused with Mel Brooks, but this Colt does have a blazing saddle as he goes 75 yards on the catch and run. Will McDonough retching in the background, though, for my choice of words. But look, I sit here, I have to amuse myself. I get bored during these long delays. Moments later, George hit Brooks for the short touchdown, and the Naptown Colts lead Cincy 24-6. Don?
A long day with a lot of updates. And here comes Kevin Mack breaking it open. As someone got up in the Cleveland locker room, we would assume, Todd, and called on people's pride to at least stir.
Well, you know what? I really think that Kevin Mack would be having a banner day right now, if not for the fact that they're down by 24 points. You know, Kevin Mack will get runs like this throughout the second half on a couple of occasions, but down by 24 points. They're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more than they'd anticipated in the second half.
These Browns fans are something. They're cheering this team like it was the playoff club of recent years now. Good blocking, good throw, almost intercepted by McKyer. Reggie Langhorne was open, and then McKyer closed and almost picked it.
Tim McKyer is doing an outstanding job in the secondary today. That's about the third or fourth pass that he has knocked down. That pass, trying to explain that pass defense to you is what he's doing right here. That's when he knocks the pass down and has the man covered. He's not buying anything that he's going deep, and you can tell right there. Reggie Langhorne, when he stands straight up like that, that means he's going to make a cut. You know right then he's not going deep. McKyer knew it too. Nice job by number 22.
So the Browns going back to the pass on first down, which was the undoing of their offense in recent drives in the first half. Now 2nd and 10. Wide open is Ozzie Newsome. Good for a first down catch to the 38. Jarvis Williams, the strong safety, finally got him, but well downfield, a gain of 17 yards.
The Miami Dolphins were in a zone defense, too deep, and what that means is that with two safeties in the middle of the field and the corners off to the side, Ozzie gets an inside release right here, and he's just going to fade into the dead part of the zone. There's no move. You don't see anybody on him man for man. He finds the dead spot in the zone just in front of the safety. Nice move by Ozzie and a great throw by Koza.
It was extremely accurate. Eric Gainer in the backfield. Another laser-sharp throw by Bernie Kosar. This time to Eric Metcalf, down to the 25. 14 yards and a first down.
Eric Metcalf on the slant route. What they do in this situation, this is something that Jim Schaffner said, is, look, they have Hugh Green on him. No way Hugh Green can stay with Eric Metcalf. Hugh Green is an outstanding outside linebacker. But Jim Schaffner told us that they want to do that to get that particular mismatch. Because when Eric Metcalf is in the game as a back coming out of the backfield, he's normally covered by a linebacker. Here he comes flexed out again. Hugh Green has him man for man. A little far back, too, I noticed, respecting his speed.
Check with Kevin Mack. Trying to go wide, and Mack fights ahead to get to the line of scrimmage. Hit behind the line. And he angled ahead and was finally knocked down by Jarvis Williams, a gain of a yard.
Good job maintaining his balance here by Kevin Mack. They finally break through, do a good job. Jeff Cross gets a piece of it first, but spins off. Now he cuts to the outside. Jarvis Williams comes up with run support, but look at how tough Kevin Mack is. Even then, it's tough to bring down. No gain, but actually a pretty good run.
Yes, it was. He's got some nice numbers, too, Todd. He's gained 52 yards on 9 carries. Browns looking to get into the end zone for the first time today. Another throw, this one errant. It was the wrong side of Kevin Mack, so it'll be 2nd down and 10. 3rd down and 10. Jim Schaffner was the #1 draft choice of the Browns back in 1957. He was an All-American defensive back at TCU. He's coached 2 NFL quarterbacks who've had NFL Most Valuable Player years. John Brody with the 49ers in 1970, and Brian Sipe here in 1980.
And he had also coached both Danny White and Neil Lomax to their best seasons in the National Football League. So you could certainly consider Jim Schaffner a guru of quarterbacks.
Said Lomax was the best pure thrower. Kosar is the best prepared. Kosar firing on the run, and Metcalf can't make the connection. A little bit to the wrong side. Jarvis Williams defending again.
Bernie had some real estate in front of him, but that's not his strong suit. His strong suit isn't running downfield. He had a shot at that first down. Watch him throw across his body. This is a difficult maneuver. He shakes out, gets away, throws across, and throws a little bit behind Metcalf going the other direction. It's a hard throw to make and a tough catch.
So they go to the field goal try again. This will be a long one, a 43-yarder by Jerry Porter. And it's good. So the Browns do get points on their opening possession of the third quarter after stopping the Miami Dolphins on the Dolphins' first possession.
Brought to you by Oldsmobile. Stop by your Oldsmobile dealer and see what's new from the new generation of Olds. By Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers for a new level of closeness and comfort. By Hertz. We never forget who made us #1. We're Hertz. We're America's wheel. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Don Quiggy with Todd Christensen. Brian Wagner ready to kick off now. After the Cleveland Browns got the field goal from Jerry Corrick. Now Higgs and Scott Schwade's at that feet. One hop. This is Higgs, and he loses it, and Upback takes it. And not very far, as the ball is going to be down at the 17-yard line. Rick Graff, normally a linebacker in there to block, picked it up and ran. What do we have here now? You can't touch this. It's jump Art. Art Modell, the Browns owner.
Well, there's a certain amount of anti-Modell sentiment here in town. They did a poll saying if you had to blame one person for the Browns' demise, who would that be? And 88% of the people polled said they blamed Art Modell.
I wonder if they gave him credit for 5 straight playoff teams. A penalty marker goes down at the 27-yard line. Mark Duper made the catch, but there's a marker down.
I think they're going to get Duper for pushing off.
Yep.
Getting back to your point, Don, that's exactly right. It's amazing how amnesiacs these fans can be.
Offensive pass interference number 35. First down.
Mark Duper cuts to the outside, and Minifield's with the man for man. Now watch him push right there. That left hand comes. Ooh, boy, that's ticky-tack. That's really kind of. That's one that you usually get away with. Hey, man, as a receiver, I know that. Sometimes you got to collide with these people. But that's what the official saw. He can't believe it either. Take a look at his face. Say, what?
Percentage-wise, it's got to be 5 or 6 to 1 against the defense, doesn't it, on interference?
Most of the time, yeah, that's right.
Now the Dolphins need the long gainer, and they go to Sammy Smith, and he's not going to get it as Cleveland's defense rises up. Dave Grayson, an outside linebacker, number 56, comes over and sweeps him under. Now it's back to NFL Live and Bob Costas.
All right, Don, right after the Billy Brooks touchdown, Boomer Esiason fumbles for Cincinnati. Jeff George right back to work. Here's the 14-year veteran Stanley Morgan, liberated from New England. A tremendous diving catch for George, his 3rd touchdown throw of the game. And Indianapolis is pounding Cincinnati on the Bengals' home field, 31-6.
I noticed that time he didn't use a movie metaphor, but for Cincinnati, it could be the longest day instead of Blazing Saddles.
Right. There's a handoff for Stratford on 2nd, and 19 doesn't get anything. Last year, the AFC Central had 3 playoff teams. Houston, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. This year, Todd, they might not have any. Well, they got to have one, at least.
You know, Don, we were talking with Eddie Johnson yesterday, and we asked him about the dog pound and the crowd. And he made the reference that he said, you know, they're just not as lively this year. Well, that's easy to explain, being 2-8. But one of the things that would go well for the Browns right now is that if they can stop them and get this crowd back in the game, get a score, they could be right back in it.
This is a different Cleveland football team in the second half. Way down, but very spirited plays. Marino in trouble. Fires on the run. It is caught for a first down by Tony Martin. So Martin, the first-year wide receiver, goes way up on a long yardage play and comes down with a fingertip grab, good for 18 yards and a Miami first down.
That's got to be frustrating. They have kind of a zone D here. Gash is deep. But once they start to break down, look at him come up. He loses his footing right there. He might have been able to make the play, but give Marino credit. Marino may not be the best scrambler in the league, but he senses people. It's not an accident. It's not just his quick release that has enabled them to only be sacked 8 times. He knows when the people are coming. He has a good sense for that sort of play.
Now the Browns shut down the run again. Bob Budkowski was on the stop of Sammy Smith. 6 minutes and 13 seconds to play in the third quarter. Now we look at the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Eagles continue to lead the Giants 14-13. Minnesota blasting the favored Bears. Indianapolis doing the same to the favored Bengals. New Orleans up on Atlanta 3-0, and Green Bay with a 11-point lead over the Buccaneers.
Weren't the Bucs 4-2 at one point? They look like a real coming team.
They've really gone the other way. Testaverde was a top-rated passer for a while. Then he was benched. Smith runs. On 2nd down and 10, he got perhaps 3. That's Troy Stradford with the carry. And he is ahead as Anthony Pleasant made the knockdown. It will be 3rd down and 7 now.
Marino has been uncommon on 3rd down conversions. Left got a good job filling right there. You can see Grayson come upfield, gets a piece of him. Mikowski going down the line, showing some excellent speed for a defensive end. Helped hold Stratford to only a 3-yard gain. There's that sack graphic we alluded to, and everybody says it's the release of Marino. But give the offensive line credit, and as I said, make sure you understand that Marino knows what the rush is about. He knows what he's doing.
And Cleveland got a big rush. Michael Dean Perry was coming, and he was coming hard. So was outside linebacker Clay Matthews. And Marino had to trigger a quick throw looking for Mark Cooper, but he was way low. And again, the Dolphins have to punt. They didn't punt the ball at all in the first half, but in 2 possessions in the third quarter, they have punted twice.
When you force the quarterback to throw off your back foot, watch what happens. He's off his back foot right here. And when you throw off your back foot, you don't have the same strength, and the ball was short to deeper on the outside.
Brennan will run this one back. And rather well as he gets out of bounds at the 24-yard line. So the Browns, who hit a field goal on their last possession, are ready to go on offense when we come back. One of the designers of the Miami defense, and you see the point production allowed by Miami, 10.9, lowest in the NFL. Compared to some of the other great Super Bowl winners of the past, the 85 Bears and their great defense, the Steelers and the 72 unbeaten Dolphins all allowed more points per game than this third Miami team. Bernie Kosar lobs it downfield and hits Ozzie Newsome. It's good for a first down play. Are they going to wave it off? There's a marker down. Pass goes if the penalty is not against Cleveland.
It appeared that Ralph Tam went downfield a little bit too soon.
We have an ineligible receiver downfield, number 65 on the offense. First down.
What happens is on offensive line when you see Bernie struggling like that in what was essentially only a 2-man pattern, they thought he was going to run. This is the counter boot. The idea is to get it to Ozzie coming across the field, but he gets bumped right there by Odoms in the far right of your screen. Now he's going to go deep. Now he changed his mind. Is he going to run? Ralph Tam thinks he is. Great catch by Ozzie Newsome, but it comes back because Ralph just assumed, hey, I thought you were going to run the ball. I was ready to give you some help. You know, Jim Shoppers got that shot of him, Don. He mentioned the fact that people say here he's way too laid back. He says, I'm not laid back. He says, I'm not laid back at all. He says, I want to win as much as anybody. It just appears that I'm laid back.
Well, right now, he watches his quarterback, Bernie Kosar, and a drop by Metcalf. Get the feeling he doesn't like traffic. Gets open every time.
Well, for me, this is one of the problems that I have with a 4-wide receiver, the run and shoot. The inside receivers, in a lot of cases, aren't big guys who are used to catching the ball in the middle of the field. Granted, Eric Metcalf is a terrific athlete. He has super hands, he has quickness and speed. But if you're not used to catching the ball in the middle of the field like a bigger receiver or a tight end, a lot of times that's what happens. You get the alligator arms and you're not so sure of yourself. In pattern right there. He sees the zone, big opening, reaches back, can't quite come up with it. And look at that. Look as his hands came up. He was bracing for the hit before he even had the ball.
Kosar now needing a big play. 2nd and 20, a tip ball, but Matt catches it anyhow. Gets up the sideline and out to the 23-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by number 55, Hugh Green. named by the Sporting News, Todd, as an all-time All-American from his days at Pittsburgh, Hugh Green.
Gets just a little bit of piece of the ball here, does Jeff Cross. And Kevin Mack is able to adjust to it. Look at that. Different flight, but he makes the catch. You're mentioning about Hugh Green. He was orphaned as a very young child out of Natchez, Mississippi. He had a terrific career at Pittsburgh and was a Pro Bowl player with the Tampa Bay Bucks before he was traded to the Dolphins, then had a knee reconstruction, went on Plan B, came back, and he's really fought his way back. A lot of times at this age in your career, you're content to call it quits, but Hugh Green hasn't and continues to play good football.
Right now, the Browns have done a good job keeping the rush off Kozar. Try to protect him again, but this time Bernie will be sacked. First sack of the day. The man who gets it, big T.J. Turner, his 5th of the year.
Don, Tom Olivadotti told us yesterday that one of the keys to the success of the pass rush for the Miami Dolphins has been the outstanding secondary play, particularly Tim McKyer and J.B. Brown. Bernie Kosar just doesn't have anybody to throw to. He's got plenty of time, but nobody's open. T.J. Turner gets a cheap sack, but it counts. He should go to the sidelines and say, hey, Tim, Rodney, J.B., thanks a lot.
Covered sack. Nobody to throw to. Unbelievable what Minnesota did to the Bears. Here's a kick downfield to Scott Swady. And he is down to the 45-yard line, a 38-yard punt and 8-yard return. So the Dolphins will go on offense when we come back in very good field position to start.
Seems to me
28-yard line.
Nice move by Mark Duper. Standard what they call the quick route, where he goes down 5-6 yards, and he and Frank Minifield are jawing at one another. He'll come down 6 yards, just turn around. Marino gets him the ball, but he makes a nice move to get away and get some extra yardage. Looks like he enjoys the game, doesn't he? Big smile on his face. He's waiting for him to go out of bounds, but look at his feet. Good job right there, staying in bounds, cutting back. Mike Johnson comes over to help, but not before they get a big first down.
Marino now 14 for 23 for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dolphins go to the run on first down, and Sammy Smith takes it down to the 25-yard line. And now while we have a moment, let's go back to NFL Live. Bob?
All right, Don. Trailing 31-6, the Bengals figure what the heck. They go for it on 4th and 16. Esiason evades the rush, fires this bullet to Eddie Brown, who does some nifty stepping and lunges across for the touchdown. Then, following a short Indianapolis punt, the Bengals return it to the 20-yard line of the Colts, and they're back in business. If they score, they might have enough time for a comeback. Don?
Interesting game in Cincinnati. Thank you, Bob. As right now, the Dolphins have the ball, 2nd down and 8. A drop by Sammy Smith. That has been a problem with Sammy's play. He's not a good catcher of the ball. Coach Bowden didn't teach him that at Florida State. He can run with it, though. A #1 draft choice.
Marino, quick flip out there. You're right. He was a runner and a blocker. That's what happens a lot of times to guys that come into the league. You know, they're used to being stars and getting the ball wherever they wanted in the I formation. They can't adjust to doing things like blocking and catching passes. And as we witnessed just there, obviously Sammy Smith hasn't made too much of an adjustment.
One of the greatest runners ever were very weak receivers. Two in particular, Earl Campbell and our friend O.J. Simpson. Used to at times have those ping-pong paddle hands.
Juice is going to be real happy to hear you say that.
Well, he can't deny it, though, but he didn't need to catch it. He'd run for 1,500 every year.
Duper on the slant. Felt like he got grabbed.
Holding 26 defense. First down.
Raymond Claiborne arguing with the back judge there. He doesn't feel like it was. But then again, they never do. Raymond, a cagey guy, probably knew that he did, but he wants to argue.
It's a first down, 1:19 to go in the 3rd quarter. That Bengals-Cincinnati score, Indianapolis leading 31-20. Dolphins go into a power eye set. Pitch to Smith. He's down to the 17-yard line. Clay Matthews, number 57, a 5-time Pro Bowl player at outside, was the man who made the stop for the Cleveland Browns. Matthews, Johnson, and Grayson backers for Cleveland.
Watch to the right of your screen. You're going to see Clay Matthews come all the way down the line. This is a lot of speed for any kind of backer, but especially for a cat who's 34 years of age. Clay Matthews has played some terrific football for the Browns since 1978, a starter on the outside.
His brother, also a Pro Bowl player and the signer of a handsome new contract.
I was kidding Clay about that. Wondering if he'd ask for a loan. He said no.
Marino on 2nd down and 7 can't make the connection to Jim Jensen. Bruce Matthews of the Houston Oilers reportedly is going to receive $1 million a year to play offensive guard.
Jim Jensen crying about being held again. Mike Johnson says, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's why.
Here you can see he's going to run a circle route. He comes up, cuts back to the inside. Take a look. Oh, well, maybe. But he wasn't held long enough. That's what the official sees. The official wants to see his jersey come out of his back or his pants be altered or alter the course of his route. He didn't alter the course of his route there at all, and so the official let it ride. Crash, they call him, for good reason.
He was a special scheme throwing a catch. Tony Martin. And it's a first down for the Dolphins, but there are markers down at the line of scrimmage.
Looked to me like Richmond Webb moved a little bit too quick, getting back into his set.
Ball start, offense, left tackle, 3rd down.
Again, a so-called rookie mistake, but a lot of that has to do with a pass rush. You're cognizant of these guys coming upfield. You want to get back quick. Watch number 78, the far left, Richmond Webb, moved just a little too quick. That's enough right there for the flag.
So instead of a 1st and goal inside the 5, Miami now has it at the Dolphins at the Cleveland 22-yard line. 3rd down and 12.
That's a terrible statistic right there, giving up 92% scores once you get inside the 20 by the defense.
Into the end zone, out of the end zone. Marino saw no man open, so he gunned it away. Field goal unit comes out for the Dolphins.
You know, before that last field goal, the only kick that Stojanovic had missed was from 53 yards. He's having an outstanding season. Has not missed an extra point. Now he's 14 of 16.
Just 17 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Miami continues to lead the game 27-6. Stojanovic having a good year at the end of the game, hitting 14 of 15 field goals. He was wide on the shot today. This one hooked in. Stojanovic is where he has to be with the kick, and the Dolphins extend their lead to 30-6. And Miami will kick off when we return to Cleveland. Almost with 3 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter.
You know, he's done a good job today for somebody who hasn't returned kicks for a long time. Brent Fullwood was the leading rusher for the Packers the last 2 seasons.
It is, of course, a doubleheader day on NBC Sports, and a feature doubleheader game. The Chiefs and the Raiders from the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The Steelers meet the Jets at 4. The Pittsburgh, with a win there, will probably go back at the tie for 1st place with Cincinnati unless the Bengals rally to beat Indianapolis. And the Patriots and Cardinals are playing today at Phoenix. Kosar, downfield throw, and did Webster Slaughter hold on? He did not. John Alford was covering on the play, number 56. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. 30-6 Miami. Back after these messages from your local station. First out in total yards.
No, it isn't. But again, time of possession, 5 minutes more for the Dolphins, and that bodes well because of the fact that they can't get their offense on the field. And of course, those two turnovers that we mentioned earlier led to scores.
One to an immediate Terry Glenn ran into the interception. Here's Kosar with a throw and a catch by Brian Brennan. He's ahead for 12 yards and a 1st down on 2nd and 10. J.B. Brown brought him down.
Brian Brennan is having a good game. He's making some nice plays in between. I was talking to the receiver coach yesterday, and he told me that Brian Brennan isn't somebody that is blazing fast. Take a look. You see underneath. He turns McKyer completely around. He comes back, tries to make the play, but he can't. Brennan has what he calls lateral speed and quickness, and he's one of those people, a la Steve Largent and Fred Biletnikoff, who belies the fact that you have to have great 40 speed to be effective in the National Football League.
Yeah, but he's elusive. The way, whatever it is, he gets open. And now with the 1st and 10 call, Kosar throws to Kevin Mack, and he is leveled by Lewis Oliver, a 226-pound free safety. The strong safety weighs 198 pounds, Jarvis Williams. I asked Tom Olivedati yesterday why Oliver is so much bigger as the free safety. He said because he's so much faster.
And he covers an awful lot of ground. Bernie wanted to go downfield. The pass rush comes upfield. You can see the pocket start to break down right here. And he just, you know, if I'm the running back in that situation, I come back and say, hey, Bernie, don't do that ever again. Oliver's just sitting there waiting for him, and he cleaned him.
Second down, Browns need 10. Whoop. Metcalf was coming back at the ball, and Kosar was letting it go long.
Again, the pass rush. Jeff Cross and E.J. Jr. forced him to throw that over the head of the intended receiver. From the bottom of your screen, the top, here comes Jeff Cross. E.J. Jr. being taken out by Kevin Mack, but here comes Cross from the backside. 10 sacks heading into this game. We haven't heard much from him today. Brown's doing a pretty good job on him. 4th in the AFC in sacks with 10. He was a 9th-round pick a couple of years ago, and they really didn't expect much of him, but he's really come on. One of the premier pass rushers in the National Football League.
He's been terrific, Jeff Cross. Dolphins have only 1 sack of Kosar, but they've pressured him all game long as Kevin Mack now runs the ball. And Kevin Mack is inside the 45-yard line and down to the 43. Eric Kummerow, number 90, made the stop for the Dolphins.
Well, he ran right through the arms of both Rodney Thomas and Jarvis Williams. They used that in the very first series, this curious flip throw. And take a look as he cuts upfield. Good blocks by the wide receivers, but he's tackled right here. Both Williams and Thomas have him, but he runs right through them, showing the strength. Eric Kummerow, the former first-round pick 2 years ago, makes the tackle downfield.
Kevin Mack averaging over 5 yards a rush. He has 64 yards on 12 carries. Kosar on first down, airs it out. The ball is caught by Langhorn. He's down to the 29-yard line. And it'll be a first down there. There was a gain of 15 yards on the play. Rodney Thomas, number 24, made the tackle of Langhorn.
Surprised why they didn't run some crossing patterns earlier. They had a man coverage, and Langhorn just left his man behind him, and Bernie made a good throw. Cutting across to the left of your screen, there's Langhorn coming across. He leads him well, cuts upfield. He actually strips the ball, but fortunately for Langhorn and the Browns, it goes out of bounds.
Pitch back on 1st and 10. Here comes Eric Metcalf. Inside the 25-yard line and down to the 23. The Dolphins and the Browns played a tremendous postseason game, a playoff game in '85. I was there at the Orange Bowl. Just a sensational game. Cleveland, a big underdog, built up a 21-3 lead. The Browns had trained at the Dodger training camp in Vero Beach all week. And then the Dolphins rallied and won it 24-21. Kosar was a rookie. And he takes a look. Tip ball incomplete. Stopping the clock with 11:27 to play. And it brings up 3rd down now for Cleveland. Browns need a long 5, almost 6.
I would guess that this is going to be 4-down territory. Take a look at Jeff Cross coming up the field. Leading sacker for the Dolphins. Look at this. Cuts inside. He's amongst 2-3 Browns. There's no way they're going to let him get to the quarterback. That's the price you pay when you're a sack artist. They're going to do their best to take you out of the game and double team you. John Shula mentioned that they had to have some other people rise to the occasion.
Kevin Mack, who has been a powerhouse all day, takes it inside the 15-yard line. On a 3rd and 5, he's ahead for 10 yards and a first down.
This is totally 20/20 hindsight here, Don. But, you know, had they not had those turnovers in the first half, they could have used Kevin Mack a lot more effectively. As it is now, they use him just as an alternative on a passing down to cut upfield. Good line push right there. Good job by Babb keeping Lee away. Cuts upfield for the first down. Kevin Mack has big numbers today, but because they're so far behind, they haven't been able to use him to take the time off the clock.
Right now, Browns have more total plays in the game than Miami, 54-48, and more total yards, 286 to 282. Derek Gainer turns the corner, takes down a tackler, and gets to the 10. Lewis Oliver knocked him down. First time this year that the Dolphins have allowed an opposing team over 100 yards rushing.
Well, Derek Gainer is a former draft pick of the Los Angeles Raiders, and they like him. 5'11", 240. Reminds me a little bit of Robert Tank Holmes, doesn't he? He has that low center of gravity, good quickness, shows some speed cutting to the outside.
It's the first time the Dolphins allowed a single runner over 100, which Kevin Mack will be at shortly. The Raiders rushed for 177 on Monday night. Now, Kosar stands in, takes a look. He scrambles ahead and gets to the line of scrimmage. It brings up third down. Cliff Odom, who's been a tremendous Plan B acquisition for Miami, a former Colt. He was the man who made the stop. George Hill, the linebackers coach.
Holding 22 defense. First down.
First down call as there's a holding call against the Dolphins. So the Browns in position to possibly score a touchdown.
Tim McKyer has done an outstanding job today in coverage. Once again, that was a coverage sack, but evidently it was a little bit too good because number 22 had his clamps on Reggie Langhorne.
Wild game today, Todd. In the fourth quarter, New Orleans, the Saints lead Atlanta 3-0. 3 points through almost 4 quarters of play. Two teams competing. Both have given up a lot of scores this year. Browns, first and goal from the 5. Kosar looks, angles it out, incomplete. He was looking at Reggie Langhorne. Tim McKyer was covering. This McKyer really is a good corner.
He is a terrific corner. He just couldn't get along with Eddie DeBartolo or Bill Walsh, and that's why he said he wanted out of there. This is difficult coverage on the 5-yard line. Take a look. He goes inside out. He watches the quarterback all the way, makes the break. The ball was thrown too high. He had some problems there in San Francisco and decided he wanted to go elsewhere, and he has really solidified the defensive secondary for the Dolphins.
He told us yesterday, you know, if John wants it quiet, that's cool. He said, I'm not quiet. They didn't like it. Mack takes it ahead on second and goal from just outside the 5 and gets down to the 2-yard line.
I'm surprised they didn't try this on first down. You got to figure with Kevin Mack, you can get 5 yards in 4 tries, and at this point in the game, the Cleveland Browns are in a 4-down situation, so why not give him the ball? He's been your bread and butter all day. This is a wham block. Tight end comes in and blocks down on the nose guard, but the guard was unable to come up on Odoms, and Odoms makes the play there at the 2-yard line.
Now the Browns are on third down and goal from just outside the 2. Handoff. Kevin Mack, he's in, and the Browns have a touchdown.
It's been a while since the dog pound has had something to cheer about. They get their 4 wide receivers, spread them out, and that makes for a soft middle, and Kevin Mack was able to exploit it.
That's the point, hit up and good. You really have to think if they went to a base offense running Mack all day, this team could be right in the game. Back live, an onside kick attempt, a very errant one. It goes out of bounds just over the 50 as the Browns try to get back in the game, but that won't work.
We have a short kick out of bounds. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and a re-kick.
They'll kick it again after a 5-yard penalty.
You know what one of these Dolphins should do? I'll take a look at the touchdown first. Look at all the people on the line of scrimmage. All 11 people are up there. That means only 4 in the middle of the field, and right there, Mack takes advantage of it. Good job of blocking by Rakosi to enable Mack to get in the end zone.
He has done the job. Big Kevin Mack, a 233-pound fullback, averaging over 6 yards a rush today. We have him for 80 yards and 13 carries.
You know, this onside is always entertaining. I remember 10 years ago I was playing in Giants Stadium, and Derek Jensen, our special teams captain, leaned over to me and says, we know we're going to do this. I'm going to go after it. You know it's an onside kick, and he went after it and ran it back like 40 yards for a touchdown.
Gathering of Fulbright scholars in the end zone looking on shirtless as the kickoff goes downfield to the 5-yard line. And the knockdown's going to be made inside the 15-yard line. Jarvis Williams was down to cover for the Dolphins. Jarvis Williams, the man who ran it back, covering on the play was John Talley at tight end. Here's an offside signaled against Cleveland on the kickoff. They'll have to re-kick.
That's inevitable when you have all those people on that one side.
We have offside, 24 on the kicking team, a 5-yard penalty, and we will re-kick.
8:33 to play in the game. The Eagles open up a 31-13 lead over the Giants in the fourth quarter. Minnesota continues to dominate the Bears at Minneapolis. Indianapolis continues with the upset of the Bengals at Cincinnati. New Orleans late in the fourth quarter leading Atlanta 3-0. And Green Bay continues to lead Tampa Bay as we run them all down on the Xerox 10-minute ticker. It is a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Most of you will see the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs coming up next from Los Angeles. Some will see the Steelers go against the Jets in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. And today the New England Patriots play the Cardinals at Phoenix. So after consecutive penalties, the Browns now find themselves kicking off from their 25-yard line.
Well, this will be interesting. Now they've had two different kickoffs. What are they going to do this side? I think they should come to this side. Onside kick with two guys over here. Yeah, all right.
You got it.
All right. Am I a coach or what?
Just a fake. They fake the onside kick. A good kickoff downfield. Taken on the one hop by Troy Stratford. To the outside, nothing there, and he's taken down to the 26, and another penalty marker's down. The Browns were offside on the kickoff.
2 times in a row. Unbelievable.
They'll kick off now from their 20.
We have offsides on the kicking team, number 88 and number 24. 5-yard penalty. We will re-kick.
Take a look at the far right of your screen. Reggie Langhorne, sure enough, he's already passed the line a good 2 steps beyond the kick. How can that happen? You know, this is the sort of thing where a coach just drives him crazy. You just had an offsides penalty, so you think that all 11 guys are going to be tuned into saying, no way I'm going to be offsides. Oh, boy. That's silly.
So as the owner looks on, the Browns set up to kick off again, this time from their 20.
Don, winning and losing in the National Football League is a given. But, you know, when you lose like this, when you make these kinds of mistakes, it gives the impression that you're ill-prepared, that you're not sure of yourself out there, and you're not mentally into the game. The fans have a right to boo.
No flag. They get the kickoff away, and it's a good one. All the way back. It's down in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. So kicking off from his 20, Brian Wagner hits it over 80 yards downfield into the end zone.
And both Stratford and Williams were very lucky there. If that ball doesn't roll into the end zone, if it could die somewhere on the 1 or 2 yard line, the Browns might have been able to get there. But they were smart. They let it roll in. Look at Stratford. He knows he got away with one. Look at them all now. Look at Blaylock to the far left. How about that, ref? What do you think of that one? Okay?
Didn't go offside, but he certainly wasn't on the coverage. And now 1st and 10 for Dan Marino and the Dolphins. 8 minutes and 14 seconds to play in the game. Miami's in the lead 30-13. To the run. And ahead for yardage is Sammy Smith. Out across the 25-yard line to the 26.
It's a good chance for Don Shula to take a look at his offense and see if they can take some time off the clock, if they can play some ball control. Because obviously what the Dolphins want to do right now is they just want to run the thing out and get home. He kept emphasizing that to us. When I asked him, I said, what is the one aspect of the game that you could improve? And then naturally, like a coach, he says about 5 or 6. And I said, no, 1. And he said, I want that running game. He said, I want that running game to improve.
Keep the defense off the field and keep their offense from scoring. And right now, they go to the run. Sammy Smith, 2nd down and 4, got a couple.
Marcus Cotton in on the tackle. Marcus Cotton is a new acquisition from the Browns, from the Atlanta Falcons. He was a 2nd-round pick a couple of years ago, and the Falcons had some real high hopes for him as a pass rusher, but evidently he got in Jerry Glanville's doghouse, which from what I understand can be practically a kennel from what I understand.
61 is an eligible receiver.
I mean, he was the leading sacker last year, and they just let him go, and the Browns did a good job of acquiring him because this man can play. Former SC standout.
Cleveland is winning the second half tie. They've outscored the Dolphins 10-3. The Dolphins go up a 27-3 lead at halftime. Sammy Smith again, but Miami in command of the game, winning 30-13.
Marcus Cotton again in on the tackle, but he was backwards. Sammy Smith knocked him backwards.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League. Miami and Cleveland, and all rights are reserved.
You know, while the front office of the Browns gets criticized, those are two pretty good acquisitions they got off the waiver wire and trade. Marcus Cotton and Brent Fuller.
Fuller was a high #1 of Green Bay, and Marcus Cotton was, I think, the first or second player taken in the second round. Dolphins heading for good things in 1990. First winning season since '87 and the most wins since '85, and they're a long way from done. 5 games to go after this one. They'll go to 9-2 with a win today.
Down on the flip side of that, the Cleveland goes to 2-9, as appear they will. This will be their first losing season since the strike season of 1982.
And it's the first time that the Dolphins have won at Cleveland Stadium since 1973. Reno skirts to that strike clock, but he gets it off in time. Unlike the Raider game Monday night, incomplete. Let's take a look at the schedule for the Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. There are tribals at the moment in the AFC East. Buffalo goes to Houston tomorrow night, then has to play the Eagles at home, goes into a very hot Indianapolis. The Colts are coming on, then plays the Giants in New Jersey, plays the Dolphins at Orchard Park, New York on December 23rd, and closes out at Washington. A very difficult schedule for Buffalo. And Miami's got a full load ahead, too. At Washington next Sunday, then home to play the Eagles at Joe Robbie Stadium, home to play the Seahawks, then at Buffalo, and they close out against the Colts. But that's in Miami, at Joe Robbie Stadium.
John, usually when players and coaches look ahead, they look on that schedule. Tom Olivadotti told us that. You look at the schedule and see if there are gimmies.
Nice throw. Dan Marino gets the ball to Mark Duper for first down yardage across midfield.
Once again, that's a timing pattern for him to look back. He looks back on the comeback, and that's when Marino throws it, knowing that they're running stride for stride. Marino looking upfield. He knows he's going to Duper right there. Flips it. Duper able to beat Claiborne for the first down. Getting back to the point that I wanted to make with regards to, here's Duper again. Now watch when he looks back. That's when the ball is thrown. Now he looks and stops. There it is. Timing pattern. Claiborne actually had pretty good coverage. The point I wanted to make with regards to Buffalo is you look at that schedule and you say to yourself, well, there's a gimme or there's a gimme. That list of teams that they had, as by the way the Colts are playing today, they seem to indicate they have no gimmies on their schedule. Despite the fact that they have a 1-game lead over the Dolphins, I'd have to agree with Will McDonough at what he said at the top of the show, which was that Buffalo has the hardest road ahead, not the Dolphins.
Indianapolis just got a field goal from Biasucci and now leads 34-20 at Cincinnati. As you look at the AFC standings at the outset of this day, Miami soon to be 9-2, and Buffalo with a very tough game at Houston coming up. The Colts look like they're going to go to 5-6 and certainly not out of the playoff picture. Jim Irsay, the president of the Colts, insists that Ron Meyer will be back as head coach. We know Don Shula will. His contract goes through 93, and of course he's closing in on the all-time win record. He's got 293. This will be his 294th. George Halas is the leader with 325, the late great of the Chicago Bears. The Cleveland schedule the rest of the way looks as follows.
We have a timeout.
We'll be checking that when we come back, as with 4:21 to play, there's a timeout on the field with the Miami Dolphins leading the Cleveland Browns 30-13. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Cincinnati appears en route to a 6-5 record. Houston goes tomorrow night against the Bills, and Pittsburgh goes shortly against the Jets. It'll be a three-way tie for first at the end of this 12th weekend. There's a throw and a catch by Jetson. He's down inside the 40 to the 37 and got where he needed to go for a first down for Miami.
Jim Jensen just doing what he does best. Comes out of the backfield in a flat route. You can see Clay Matthews going with him. He's waiting for him to come inside, and he never does. He just stays outside. Clay gets picked. First down, Dolphins. Jim Jensen, I would guess, saves him about 2 or 3 people on the roster. Not only can he play all the positions, but he can do some of the specialty things. From what I understand, he can also snap for punts.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I never heard that one. I know he can play quarterback, halfback, fullback, tight end, wide receiver. Marino chases somebody off the field with an extra breath out there. He knew the formation. There should have been 2 wide receivers. Wide right. To the run they go, and Sammy Smith carries straight ahead. Eagles continue to command the Giants on the Xerox 10-minute ticker. Minnesota looking to save Jerry Burns' job, and the Vikings are starting to look like a playoff team as they are blasting the favored Bears. Atlanta has now scored in the 4th quarter on a Chris Miller to George Thomas touchdown pass, 51 yards. And the Falcons lead the Saints 7-3. Green Bay continues to lead Tampa Bay by 10. Marino 16-29, 245 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sammy Smith turns upfield. He might go. Sammy Smith on the run inside the 10 and taken down at the 5-yard line. 32-yard play.
Good job of blocking on the right side. Clay Matthews gets completely turned around by Farrell Edmonds, and that gives the gap to Sammy Smith. You can see he cuts back inside. Now watch. He's right there to make the tackle. Now he gets spun around. Can't quite get a hold of him. Sammy Smith shows some terrific speed here, but Thane Gash able to trip him up before he can get in the end zone. Watch the right side of your line. Watch the people go back. Here comes the pull, the direction. Wright gets knocked down. Right there, he tried to just knock him down instead of wrapping up, and it cost him. Sammy Smith with a big run.
Dolphins looking to get back to the Super Bowl. They were part of the great AFC success story of the 70s when AFC teams won 8 of 10 Super Bowls. NFC teams won 8 of 10 in the 80s.
Tranquility. That's
West, the Raiders and the Chiefs are coming up next on NBC Sports as part of a doubleheader. They'll be meeting at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The rematch, Kansas City, a 9-7 winner over the Raiders in the first meeting at Arrowhead. Some of you will see the Jets and the Steelers meet, or the Patriots go against the Cardinals at Phoenix. Two minutes to play, and Miami looking for more, leading 30-13. Danny Smith takes it again. He is now close to 100 yards. 2-yard gain there. He's up to 98 for the day on 23 carries.
Mike Johnson, the team's leading tackler, gets another one. Too little too late, however, for the Browns.
Hey, Crash Jensen.
Come on the dad. Both of you.
I wonder what he's saying.
4 of you. You're in, Jake.
No, he's not.
61 is an eligible receiver.
I think he's asking Victor Kion for a razor. What do you think?
I tell you, that catch today, Todd, that one-hander he had in the first half, that has to go into the Jensen highlight reel. They go to Sammy Smith. The Browns throw it back. As the game clock winds down to 1 minute to play. Today's Ronald McDonald Children's Charities Player of the Game is quarterback Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins. McDonald's and NBC will donate $5,000 on behalf of all the players selected in today's games to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities to help give kids a better tomorrow. Today he went over 30,000 career yards, and he did it in fewer games than any player in history. The Dolphins showing the sportsmanship which has characterized the Shula teams over the years. Elect not to take it in. They down the ball, and the clock will run out. And Miami extends its record this season to 9 victories against 2 defeats. After the Raiders ended Miami's 6-game winning streak on Monday night, the Dolphins get right back into playoff form today.
Well, the Cleveland Browns have a long ways to go. Now they have to go on the road. They got to try to salvage something. Jim Schaffner needs to get it back together on offense. And defensively, the Browns once again gave up just way too